Yeah, we are talking about here the CBRAs, and of course then we come very close to the subject of coordinated border management. It is very hard to find, it's not a concept that one size fits everybody, because you will have different solutions, different circumstances, depending on what border you operate this in. So I will start with giving a very high-level, generic introduction to CBM, and then, as the Commissioner mentioned this morning, I will go into more detail when it comes to the solution we have between Sweden and Norway. Why do we want coordinated border management? Well, it is often a very complex situation at the borders, meaning that there's a lot of interest from different organizations working on either side of the border, as the Commissioner mentioned this morning as well. And that, of course, can lead to a situation where you don't really fulfill the objectives, because it's too many cooks, how do you say? Too many cooks to spoil the soup. So that could really be the situation at some border points. Because if you speak to a trader and listen to what they want, really, they don't want less revenue to be paid. They don't want different kind of procedures, things like that. Because what they want, number one, is predictability. They want to have it always the same procedure. And they want quick releases. So the release times is, of course, impacted if you have multiple governmental agencies. The overarching setup for this, the Revised Kyoto Convention, of course, talks about coordinated border management. I didn't put the text in here, but you have a lot of mentioning about CBM. We can run the show as we liked. But now we have to consider a lot of other agencies. It could vary a lot between different countries, how many agencies are present at the border. But I would assume that immigration is one. You might have Bureau of Standards, you have the veterinary, the phytosanitary, and so on and so on. Also, it's about priorities. I mean, if you operate in a complex supply chain, what is a priority for one country might not be the priority for another one. So this also has to be considered when we talk about CBM. We would like to have, we could do a lot of more controls more quickly, but we don't have a situation where we have resources present at the border posts. The cooperation is also a challenge. We have to, I mean, if you set up coordinated border management, it can be done in different ways. It could be a national coordinated border management. It could be an international coordinated border management. And the transparency, because when you enter a collaborative way of doing things with another agency, you have to be very transparent when it comes to the rules, regulations, and so on that actually is applied by customs. And the legal issues, of course, can be very complex as well, because it might even be what is legal in one country is illegal in another country. So from that purpose and that perspective, the legal situation really has to be sorted out. We assume in this context that we have imports into the country of different kinds of beef, different kinds of meat being imported into a country. What happens then? Well, in Sweden, you need an authorization from the National Food Administration to be able to deal with foodstuffs in the international supply chain. And that license is already with customs in Sweden, because we know that this company is allowed to deal with it. The declaration enters the system, the tariff heading used here for the meat will show that when there is a risk profile hitting that specific tariff number, there will be an alert stating that this is a commodity that needs some more than just to go through the program. So what we do is we check different databases. We check for the commodity, we check for the operator, and we check for authorizations. Because if you have a situation where the importer is allowed to deal with meat, and we find that this is meat in this transaction, we bring these information together, and we can see, yes, this is an operator, he holds a license to deal with meat, and he's importing meat. Everything is fine in the system of Swedish Customs. We still need to put a hold on the consignment, because we need some expertise. Here in this case there is a veterinary entry document in place, but we need really some competence being from outside. I mean, it could be frozen beef. How do you know that it really is beef? What we do is that we make contact with the veterinary services, because they are the experts in this field. They can tell you that, yes, this cow is healthy. Customs is very hard for us to do that. So we need to have that expertise brought to customs. The release can be done over the phone, it can be done over the fax, or it could be that the veterinary services want to make an inspection. That is the procedure that we apply in Sweden, and this is how I personally see coordinated border management, where we have a transaction where some expertise is needed from outside of customs to be able to make a proper judgment whether the goods can be released or not. It could be nuclear stuff, then you need another authority. It could be electronics, where you need input from the Bureau of Standards to check for the proper standards according to the national legislation. It could be.
Just Skåne?
Yeah, it could be.
No system, no risk involved?
Well, that's a risk for the customs declaration.
Yes.
So when we see that this is meat, we make contact with the veterinary services, and we of course call them or fax the documents to them, and then it's up to them to say, well, I did an inspection of this yesterday and it was fine, so you can release it without being there to check it. You know this guy? No? It's Alexander Dumas, who wrote The Three Musketeers, all for one, one for all. The only authority at the borders is actually customs. So we are giving a lot of additional tasks outside of customs to perform on behalf of other governmental agencies. And this is just a small selection, because this is approximately the number of agencies that we collaborate with in Swedish Customs. We have more than 80 different authorities that has given tasks to customs to perform in the international supply chain. When we look at as mentioned by the Commissioner this morning, about the Swedish-Norwegian setup, there's a number of things I should really underline before we go into this. One, Norway is considered to be part of the Schengen area, meaning that there is no immigration control necessary at the border between Sweden and Norway. That is one thing that is very critical. No immigration. The other thing is that Norway is considered, from a European Union perspective, even though they are not members of the EU, they are considered to, one, belong to the security area, meaning that there is no need for a pre-declaration from a security purpose between Sweden and Norway, because they are considered to be in the security zone. Secondly, they are also considered, even though not members of the European Union, to be part of the veterinary and phytosanitary unit of the European Union. So there is no need for inspections of foodstuff coming from Norway to Sweden, because it's considered already to be in the EU. Those are very, very critical things, because it's not like a normal border. I have to stress that. No immigration, no security, no veterinary inspections, because we are so close together, and they are considered to be part of certain areas of the European Union. So Norway is a very important market for Sweden. We export a lot to Norway. Around 10% of the Swedish exports, value-wise, actually goes to Norway. So it is an important market, meaning that customs also plays an important role here, because we want to promote exports, of course. And if we look at the Norwegian side, and this is where it starts to get really interesting. As you can see, there are 5 offices. A lot of snow there, it's far up. These 5 offices are Norwegian offices. They are run by Norwegian customs only. There is no Swedish customs staff present at these border crossings. Only Norwegian. But this Norwegian staff, they do the work also for